You know, in the high stakes world of pharmaceuticals, change is the only constant. But here's the thing, how do you make sure a tiny little tweak to a process doesn't end up having, well, disastrous consequences? That's what we're digging into today. Risk assessment in change control. And trust me, it's way more than just paperwork. It's all about keeping patients safe.
So here's the first thing you have to get your head around. In drug manufacturing, not all changes are created equal. What might look like a totally minor, almost insignificant adjustment, well, that could be the very thing that kicks off a crazy chain reaction. And that can lead to a huge, totally unexpected impact on the quality of the product and, most importantly, on patient safety.
All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll talk about why change can be so dangerous in the first place. Then, we'll get into the 3 key questions you have to ask. After that, we'll look at the key aspects of the assessment itself, see what the regulators think, and we'll finish up with the kind of protective mindset you need to make this all work.
So let's start with the danger of change itself. I mean, why is every single change something you have to evaluate so carefully? It's because any change, and I mean any change, no matter how tiny it seems, has the potential to degrade the quality of a medicine. And that's exactly why a formal risk assessment isn't just, a nice to have. It's an absolutely essential safety net for your entire quality management system.
Okay, so that naturally leads to the big question, right? If every single change could be a problem, how on earth do you properly assess the risk? How do you figure out what's just a minor tweak versus what's a major show-stopping risk? Well, it turns out it all boils down to asking a few really smart questions.
And that brings us to our 3 key questions. See, a really solid risk assessment doesn't have to be some super complicated, confusing thing. The entire foundation for it really just rests on answering 3 simple but super powerful questions. So what are they? First up, what can go wrong with this change? Pretty straightforward. Number 2, if it does go wrong, just how big of a deal is it? What's the impact? And finally, number 3, what's the likelihood of it actually happening? Simple, right?
Now, once you have the answers to those 3 questions, you can start to categorize the risk. Is it low, medium, or is it high risk? And this isn't just for fun. This classification is absolutely vital because that's what tells you exactly how much scrutiny you need to apply, what kind of documentation you need, basically everything required to move forward without causing a problem.
Okay, so that's the theory, but what does this actually look like day to day? When you're assessing a change, what are the key things you need to be looking at? Let's get into a practical checklist. So you'd start by asking things like, is this going to impact the actual quality features of the product? What about our validated processes? Is it going to affect one of those or our qualified equipment? You also have to think about analytical methods. And a big one, are we going to have to update our regulatory filings because of this? And you can't forget the people. Is extra training going to be required?
All right, let's make this real with an example. Picture this. A team wants to change the cleaning agent they use on some equipment. I mean, on the surface, that sounds pretty minor, doesn't it? Just an operational change, low risk. Or is it?
But this is exactly why you do the assessment. Because what if that new cleaning agent messes with your residue validation, meaning you can no longer prove it's totally gone after you clean? Now all of a sudden, you've got a huge problem. That little low-risk change just became a high-risk situation that could literally cross-contaminate your product. Big yikes. Okay, now let's switch gears and put on a different hat. Let's think like a regulator, because this isn't just about your internal processes. When an inspector comes in to audit your system, what are they really looking for? For them, it pretty much boils down to one simple thing. Did you assess the risk before you made the change, or did you wait and do it after? And let me tell you, that difference between being proactive and being reactive, it means everything. Doing a risk assessment after the change has already happened, that is a massive red flag to an inspector. It basically screams that you have a weak system. It tells them you're just reacting to problems instead of preventing them, and that suggests your whole quality system might not really be under control. And this leads us perfectly into our final section, which might just be the most important one. We're going to move beyond just the process and talk about the core principle, the mindset that should be behind all of this. And that mindset is called risk-based thinking, and it's a total game changer. It's not about being ready to jump in and fix things when they break. No, it's about designing your entire system to stop the problem from ever happening to begin with. It's all about prevention.
When you get right down to it, it's really this simple. This way of thinking, this risk-based approach, it's your best defense. It protects the product. It protects the patient. And you know what? In the end, it protects the whole company.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Take a hard look at your own processes. Are they set up to just react when something goes wrong? Or are they truly built from the ground up to be proactive and stop failures before they even start? Because honestly, the answer to that question, it changes everything.